Hi guys, how are you all today morning? Good morning. Today is 13th April 2023. My name is TSV Raghavan and I live in Chennai, Tamil Nadu, India. This is my spiritual vlog on YouTube. Haribol TRSV nectar NECTAR nectar. In this particular vlog, in all my previous videos, we have been talking about the knowledge and information that we have gleaned from the study of spiritual books, scriptures, contemplation on the material universe, and meditation on the spiritual universe. This particular vlog is no exception to that rule. Sorry, this particular video is no exception to that rule. In fact, it is only a continuation of what we have been doing in all my previous videos. Kindly subscribe to this vlog and press the bell icon so that I may keep reminding you of my other videos. Thank you. From today, we shall take up another case history which will authenticate the fact that when somebody knowingly or unknowingly, some particular soul as human living entity gravitates from the 75% commoners to the 20% demonic natured people, then it gets involved in things which it may or may not approve of. In other words, this particular living entity gets entrapped in its own web because of some attraction for the 20% evil bracket in some birth out of all the endless births and deaths that a soul takes. A living entity may have got attracted towards the evil bracket in some birth. Initially, it tasted like very sweet and tasty at that time, but probably this particular living entity realized that this road is full of thorns and pain, but it could not help being stuck in that rut. Today we shall talk about another case history which will authenticate this fact. In New York, in the year 1902, in fact, not New York, but Newark, in the area of New Jersey in United States of America, there was a Jewish settlement. In that Jewish settlement, on 25th July 1902, one boy was born. He was christened Abe Zwillman by his family. This family, like all other inhabitants of this Jewish settlement, was of either very poor or low middle class category of small petty shopkeepers, pushcart vendors, laborers, etc. This boy was also born and brought up in such a family. Because of this, Abe Zulman, according to him, was almost always poor or hungry. He never got enough food to sustain himself. Despite this boy grew up to be a strapping young man of 6 foot 2 inches. As a result of it, in his later years, he would become notorious as Abe Longy Zwillman, short Abe short for Abner Zwillman, his surname, and Longy because of his height. Because of his poverty, this boy had to drop out of school at a very early age and start working. Initially, he began with odd jobs, then became a pushcart vendor, but because of his taste for money and glamour, soon he went into the life of crime. Because of his height and strength, he initially started as a Robin Hood of sorts for his own brethren in that Jewish settlement. Thus, he got into several fights and brawls. In that period, because of his reputation, he attracted several like-minded youngsters and they all set up a gang or network. Because this boy wanted to make more money and he already had a group of tough Muslims, so he started running gambling dens. It was a successful business and money began pouring in. But even for that, he needed not only muscle but also working capital. Because he wanted working capital and he already had muscle, so he began dealing in drugs to make more money. With that money, he started what is known as loan sharking business, that is, lending out small amounts of money to petty shopkeepers or to gamblers. Thus, this boy in his early teens was already running three operations: one, gambling; second, drug dealing; and third, loan sharking. During this time, in the year 1929, there was a depression in USA, but at the same time, there came what is known as prohibition. Prohibition wanted to prohibit the use of liquor in the society. Abe Longy, along with other guys of his mentality, jumped into the fray at the opportune time and began bootlegging operations. Bootlegging means carrying liquor to places where there was demand in speakeasies, etc., for the society which was not getting legitimate liquor. While he was doing so, he came across two brothers who were quite legitimate and who had been doing liquor business even before prohibition. This Zwillman leaned on them and forged a partnership agreement with them. It was a 50-50 partnership. Those two brothers, who were nice people, were initially scared of Zulman, but then they found that this guy was quite businesslike and just, and during the Prohibition period, the two brothers made money hands over fist along with Zulman during a 3-year period. Once prohibition was completed, something happened even before. What happened was, at that time, there was another bootlegger in the place of Hyannisport, Boston, in America. The name of this guy was Joseph Kennedy. He was a greedy, intelligent, and businesslike bootlegger, but he lacked muscle. Zwillman called this man to New Jersey and leaned on him. Zwillman forced this guy out of business in bootlegging, as a result of which Joseph Kennedy ran away to the West Coast. New Jersey, Boston, New York, etc. are East Coast in USA, whereas California is West Coast. Joseph Kennedy was very scared of Zulman, but he could do nothing. The, the anger and the vindictiveness became a latent heat in Joseph Kennedy. Joseph Kennedy became a successful film producer and soon became very wealthy. Here, prohibition had ended, and the two brothers could again become legitimate dealers in wine. Now they were all quite rich, and by now the brothers were quite impressed with Zulman. They genuinely liked this boy. So, when they returned to the legitimate business, they requested Zulman to join them in the legitimate liquor business. But here destiny intervened. Zwillman was already interested in the glamour and money of the underworld. He was somehow gravitating towards the 20% bracket of evil, and he had been doing so for the past several births. As a result of this, he could not heed to this very sane advice from the two brothers, and he excused himself from legitimate business and returned to the world of crime. This would have serious consequences. Joseph Kennedy's son, John Fitzgerald Kennedy, became the President of USA, and his another son, Robert Kennedy, became the Attorney and Solicitor General of America. Because his father had been insulted by Zwillman long before Robert Kennedy was born. This guy, Robert Kennedy, went after Zwillman, honks and tongs and nails. He set up a McClellan and then a Kefauver commission which nailed Zwillman. Now Zwillman had nemesis at his back. It was striking on him right, left, and center. Nemesis had presented its bill on Zwillman for the crimes that he had already committed as a hot-blooded young man. Now Zwillman was getting old and he had all sorts of legal problems, plus his relationship with the underworld was no cakewalk either. In fact, he had quite a few enemies. Twillman regretted the day he had rejected the two legitimate brothers' offer to join legitimate business, but now there was no turning back. While those two brothers became one of the greatest liquor distributors in America, and their family is still running that business. This Swillman was now cornered from all sides by legal and illegal power and muscle, had no other go but to commit suicide. In the month of February 1959, Zwillman hanged himself. This shows that when a living entity is, is forced to gravitate towards the 20% evil thanks to glamour, wine, women, and money, then sooner or later this person gets such a long rope that he himself hangs himself. He has no other go. This is very unfortunate. This person may not be as bad as he is made to look to the world, but this guy gets victimized by the same underworld which once made him make money and enjoy life. We must all remember this particular story in the sense that it will tell us how dangerous it is to be attracted to the life of underworld. This place is paved with a road of thorns with a lot of pain and a lot of enemies both inside and outside the law. A time comes when a gangster finds himself too old to fight with the system. Even Zulman is reported to have said, a mobster's life is only 20 years. In the initial stages, he struggles, then he starts rising up, then a time comes when he reaches a plateau, and after that, it is only downfall which may end up in unnatural death. We must take lesson from this particular story and decide to stay straight and be either calmness or to gravitate towards the 5% divine. Kindly let me know what you think of my story in this particular matter. Please give me your own expert opinions, thoughts, and ideas so that I may blend everything together for the sake of the society. Before concluding, let me remind you that I am also a published author with Amazon Kindle and paperback. I write on spiritualism, fiction, and assorted subjects. Spiritualism happens to be my favorite subject. Before we end this video, let me remind you that we shall meet in my next video very soon. Till that time, it is good morning from TSV Rahman.